All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Revin Trading Channel. Hope you all are staying safe out there as always. It has been a boring couple days in the market. So today we're going to look at a couple different time frames, and then we're going to spend the rest of the time looking at some strategies and specifically a new strategy I have been building. So let's look at the time frames first. I will jump over here to show you this new strategy. So this is with very little optimization. I built the foundation of the strategy to work on any asset and most any time frame. So you can literally, I'll show you. We'll change the asset and the time frame and show you how powerful it is on basically anything. And then, I'll probably put this in the Discord here today for any users to look at. So, all right, we'll get back to that in a minute. First, on the daily time frame. Really nothing to speak of here. Price action has based off of the midline on the ribbons for the last few days now. And right now the midline is at 90,400. So, that midline has slowly been working its way up, whereas momentum has crossed to the downside. I did expect this to happen, though, and I do expect it to kind of go sideways. We'll see what happens later today. If we get above 92,400, momentum will cross to the upside. And, then we're going to be, close to the resistance 1 band. I do expect we'll at least get another test up to the dotted resistance band right there here in the next few days. Unless, the invalidation would be closing below that midline, and then we see a target to the downside. And we do have the short-term target is positioned to the downside. I don't quite agree with that, but it is what it is. That's kind of where it's calling. And we did see a rejection off of this resistance dotted midline up here. So yeah, if we don't see kind of momentum and things shift to the upside here soon, it will be pretty hard to stay in the bull's court on this, and we'll probably get to at least another test down to 86K area. Okay, next we're going to look at the 10-day time frame. So here's where a little bit of hopium comes in. We now see that the cross is all the way down at 97,200. So it is getting closer and closer on every closure to changing momentum on the 10-day time frame to be to the upside. So, the line's still here working out pretty well. We are seeing rejection off of the support 1 band. So if we close above that support band, I do expect things to really shift to the upside. And then, we see, 97,000, which is somewhere here in the middle of this blue box. Momentum will go to the upside. Our midline will have dropped by then probably a good bit to close to 100K, if not a little lower. So we will be in a position where we can see some strength in the long term. I guess not long term, the midterm maybe. On the monthly time frame, nothing new to look at here except for, we're playing between the midline and the support 1 band. So that's all that we really have going on. Nothing too new in the markets. Let's look at a couple strategies here, and then we'll jump to the last one. The 1 hour strategy, not much is going on there for the long, but the short strategy here on ADA has been making some nice gains over the last few months. This month, it's in the negative. We did see a little bit of a pullback here, but the strategy has been slowly grinding its way up and to the right. So this is on the Discord for any bumper bands users. The ADA 1 hour short strategy on this one's the one on Bybit. There's one for Coinbase as well. Then we also have our 1 hour short strategy for Bitcoin. This one is just called 1 hour short index. It is also on the Discord, and we have seen a nice slow and steady gain over the last few months here, especially since when would this have been? April. Yeah, so since April, it's slowly moved up and to the right. We did see a lot of losses here at the beginning of April, and since the mid of April on, has been kind of gaining ground. So this strategy is doing decently well, though it does not take a whole lot of trades. It's a lot of short little scalp trades. This has been getting some nice wins. So if you're looking for an hour-long strategy to hedge a little bit, this one is on the Discord. We have a couple that are doing better than others. So I believe this one is, like I said, it's just called the 1 hour short AI. It's on the index. So, all right, that is what we're going to look at as far as that goes. Now let's jump into this strategy. So when you're looking at any cryptos, when you're looking at stocks in gold and silver, you'll have to change the commission to be a little bit closer to, I think generally 0.008 is pretty high. You can maybe a lot of times get less than that, but I'll just start it there. And we're going to look at a couple other time frames. Let's look at silver maybe on a, no, why not on a 2 hour? Let's look at gold. I'll go to a daily time frame just to look at some different stuff. I also want to change the commission here. And then maybe we'll just look at an index fund or something like that. What do I have here? Sure, we'll look at the ES minis. Also want to put this on more reasonable commission. We're going to have to raise this size up a lot. Okay. All right. So as these are loading, let's kind of come back here and look. So you can see on a 4-hour time frame, obviously it struggled a lot during the bear market, but it's generally, a good foundation, and it's gone up and to the right for the most part. However, you will need a little bit of optimization for some different time frames. Look at the 12-hour. 12-hour looks a little bit better here, but still over the bear market did struggle. So all of these will need a little bit, like I was saying, a little bit of optimization. Do we have a daily? Yeah, we have a daily. Daily time frame also looking pretty good. So again, the power of this strategy is not necessarily exactly how it is, but it is the bones of it, and slight optimizations to the RMO and the RWP. You can really whip this into shape on basically anything. I would also look at your threshold A. So I guess I'll go through this real fast while we're waiting. The things that can make this more optimized, one are the weekday settings. So the weekday settings are specifically more for a 2-hour and for Bitcoin. So you could take those off. These are taking days or periods of time out of the market. So currently on this strategy, we are not trading Thursday between 6 and 2300 hours and Wednesday and Sunday between 8 and 2200 hours. Now, this strategy, even without those limitations, even on a 2-hour time frame, works pretty well. That does optimize it a little bit, though. The RMO, what do you call this? Histogram score. So it enters if you're trending. So this is a bit of a trending strategy and a swing strategy in one. So if the RMO turns to the upside, momentum goes to the upside, then it enters a trade. Or if the histogram score is above 58, and take note that this is an AND B entry logic, so it does not look at the other AND A entry settings. This is its own. This will enter a trade if the histogram is trending to the upside. And we're going to look at a couple other things. Slight optimizations can be made, or big optimizations could probably be made to the width percentile. This needs a negative slope, negative flat slope for our AND A entry. And for our AND A exit, this the RWP signal line needs to be flat. So we have a lot of little optimizations here. I could take these off and it would still work completely fine. You can see that the strategy, it doesn't change too much. In fact, on a 1 hour, I guess it does make it a little bit worse, but all of these, again, are really, really slight optimizations. You can go through the settings yourself and kind of look, and I would look at if it's an exit, look at which exit group, or if it's an entry, look at what entry group it's a part of if you want to be optimizing this. But the RMO just needs to cross the RMO signal line for our AND A setting as far as the entry goes, and for our exit, we're just closing when it crosses to the downside. So there can be definitely good bits of optimization done there as well. I also have this interesting, very, very interesting setting I found kind of by accident here, where the high-low close, it can also exit if the high-low close crosses under the high-low, and this is an exit on AND A. So this is a separate exit that pairs with the RMO exit above. So that's just, kind of an interesting optimization I found that worked pretty well across the board. All right, the last thing, we have a little bit of a risk. We have a max stop loss, and this actually will affect higher term time frames. So this probably would be a way immediately to get higher term time frames to be a lot better. However, I wouldn't suggest just taking off blindly. I would find a risk that is appropriate. But for a high term time frame, 5%, when you have the volatility that Bitcoin has, a 5% max stop loss really does hurt it a decent bit. I believe so, at least on higher term time frame settings. We can look at, you can see it got better on the 12-hour and got quite a bit better on the daily time frame. So those are ways to immediately optimize it a good bit. On the 4-hour, it looks like it got maybe a little bit better, but probably needs, again, more optimization. Okay, let's look at gold here. This, again, probably needs the stop loss to be edited or changed. I'm not going to go through all the different settings, but I'll go ahead and take the stop loss off just to. On the daily time frame, though, for gold, it looks like 5% is fine, and it has done really, really incredibly well here recently with no optimization. ES is not looking good on a 2-hour. I wonder if that's the stop loss. I looked at this earlier, and it looked like it was fine. So we'll look at seeing what is keeping it from working on ES mini there. The daily time frame. Let's go ahead and just change this to a couple other things. We looked at silver. I'm going to look at NQ on the daily time frame. And also, I guess I want to make sure I'm not, I need to just putting a massive order size in there. Go ahead and take that off, just to leave it off. And also okay, I'm not using the day range. Cool. Yeah, so on a daily time frame for NQ, has done really well. Obviously, has had some major pullbacks, so you'd want to probably optimize that a little bit and adjust the risk. Did we look at gold? Yeah, this is a little bit better. On the 2-hour time frame, it still is sideways a lot, so it probably needs a bit more optimization. We could look at like a 4-hour on the gold, and then it's interesting. I was sure that this was a little bit better. I think a couple things made this worse, and I don't remember if it was the weekdays or something else. But yeah, there's a couple little settings I just took off that made this work pretty much immediately a lot better. Yeah, that was the weekdays. So that's part of it. I think maybe the break even and all that stuff also affects it. But again, it's not my most favorite on a 2-hour for ES minis. Probably needs to be optimized, like I said, a bit more. We could put on a higher term time frame. All right, yeah, so here is a 6-hour time frame looking at least decent. The equity curve goes up and to the right. Obviously, this massive drop-off is very, you would want to optimize it to manage risk a lot better during bear markets. But generally, this is a great starting place. So I'm going to leave it off there. Like this strategy will be posted very soon for any members that wanted to check it out. If you have the Ribbons suite, if you do not, there's a link in the description below. You can check it out on the Patreon. And I will see you guys next time. Stay safe.